Good morning, folks. It's Bob with Mountain Crest Farms. Beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky. Only thing is that means it's going to get hot. Well, we have finally arrived. Time to do a video on chickens. But you know what? I'm not going to do one on chickens. I'm going to do 2, maybe 3 on chickens. I got to planning this video and thinking back to when I was raising chickens. And raising chickens is not hard at all. Not a little bit. It's a little bit detailed. There's a lot to it. Lots of little stuff that is simple to do. And if you want to do it right and not be having to correct mistakes as you go along, there's a lot of little details in there. So we're going to hit several topics about raising chickens. Now, like I told you on the last video, we will not be talking about raising meat birds. I've never done it. Anything I told you would be a wild guess. And I don't intend to put wild guesses in these videos. I have raised a considerable number of laying hens. Fortunately, where I live, I had a market for, as long as they were brown egg layers, I had a market for a lot of eggs. I'm close enough to Atlanta. People would come up here to the farmer's market and they would pay me $6 a dozen for brown eggs, along with $12 a gallon for my goat's milk. We'll be getting into goats in another series of videos. But because I had such a good market, I wound up with my flock was about 100. I had 100 free-range brown egg layers. Now, that brings us to the first thing that you need to decide when you're getting chickens. Do you want a yard flock to provide chickens for your family, or are you looking to make money off of eggs? Now, me, everything I do here, I have an eye toward profit. That doesn't mean everything I do turns a profit. But everything I do, including when I was getting chickens and going to be getting hens to sell eggs or to have eggs, that means when I was starting that, it was with an eye toward profit. So that decision I had already made before I ever got a chicken. And you need to make that decision too. Do you want eggs for your family, or do you have a market where you can sell a lot of eggs and you want eggs for selling to make money? That's the first decision you need to make before you ever decide, because this first video we're going to talk about breeds and your purpose in having laying hens has a big deal on what breeds you get. So they want laying hens, but they want hens that have blue eggs or green eggs, or have feathers on their feet, or are real attractive in color. And for a family flock, some eggs for your family, that's great. There are some interesting looking birds out there. And if my purpose in having laying hens was a family flock, I'd have a wide variety. I'd have a real interesting looking flock. Well, when you decide you're going to make money off of your eggs, that gets cut down a little bit. Where do you live? What's your climate where you are? Uh, what chickens lay a lot of eggs versus what chickens are low egg layers. Um, what chickens are good and healthy. You don't want to have to be dealing with birds that get sick often. There's just a lot that goes into thinking about eggs for profit. Now I'm going to tell you what I did and why I did it. Um, I raised 4 breeds of chicken. I raised Rhode Island Reds. I raised a breed called Black Sex Lynx, also known as, what are Black Sex Lynx called? Black Stars. And then there's Golden Comets or Gold Sex Lynx or Gold Stars, all the same chicken. And Barred Rocks. I chose those 4 for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're heavy layers. Back when I started buying pullets or buying chicks, the hatchery that I buy from, I do not hatch my own. I buy from a hatchery. And the hatchery that I buy from is called Ideal Poultry in Texas. It's the only place I've ever bought chicks from. It's the only place I'll ever buy chicks from unless they go out of business. Oh, coffee's got me burping. Unless they go out of business. Back then, which was about 2004, 2005, when you looked up those 4 breeds, Ideal said that they laid about 300 eggs apiece each. They have cut back on that. Their online website says 260 eggs a year each. That's still a substantial number of eggs. I chose those 4 because they were heavy egg layers. They were brown egg layers. They tolerate my climate here very well. I'm in North Georgia. Matter of fact, they're pretty climate tolerant way on up the road. The hotter it gets, South Florida, I don't know how well they would do. But as you go north, those 4 breeds tolerate the cooling climate pretty good. Those were my 4 reasons for picking those 4. Now, why did I pick those 4? If I've got 4 breeds that all do the same thing, 260 eggs a year, tolerate the climate well, why do I want 4 breeds of chicken? Well, chickens, especially when you're considering them as money makers, as egg-laying money makers, chickens have a productive lifespan of about 2 years. At 2 years, you need to be replacing them. You can either add them to your yard flock, if you've got some around, because they'll still produce eggs, they just won't produce nearly as many. You can separate them out and add them to your yard flock. They went in my stew pot. If you're going to have to cull every 2 years, now I had 100 laying hens. What am I going to do? Let all of them get 2 years old, cull the whole flock, and not have any chickens that are laying eggs for 4 months, because it takes chickens about, when you buy new chicks, it takes chicks about 4 months to get up to laying age. Well, that's one thing you could do, I guess. Or every time you got a few new chickens, you could band them. And when they got to be 2 years old, you could cull them. Well, I just really didn't feel like chasing chickens around so I could grab one up and look at the band and see if it was 2 years old yet. That just seemed like work that didn't need to be done. So I was raising 4 breeds because when I started, I knew I was going to have 100 hens. So the first thing I did was I bought 25 of one breed. I think I started with Rhode Island Reds. And then 6 months later, I bought 25 of another breed. I believe I bought Barred Rock's second batch. And then my third batch, 6 months later, were black sex links, black stars, whatever you want to call them. And then 6 months later, I bought 25 golden comets, gold stars, gold sex links, whatever. Now, and I was free ranging my chickens. Some of y'all can do that. I'm in the woods. I've got birds of prey around here, hawks and owls. But trees are good protection. When chickens see a hawk, they'll start hunting for shelter. Plus, I have actually watched a hawk knock his brains out on a tree because he went into a dive to get one of my chickens. My chicken dodged just a little bit to the side. The hawk adjusted a little bit to the side and ran right into a great big old oak tree. One dead hawk, one live chicken. So being in the woods, I could free range pretty easy. Had a coop, and they got put up at night and had nesting boxes in the coop. But I could free range easy. Some of y'all, you might be out when you say free range, y'all might be talking about actual pasture. No trees around. And everything has to be kept pretty much sheltered. And we'll talk about that in one of the next videos when we're talking about housing. But, oh me. Sorry about that, folks. I had to take a little break. Took a swallow of coffee and that swig of coffee went down the wrong pipe. Anyway, I was explaining why I had 4 different breeds instead of just one breed. Like I said, about 2 years is how long chickens will lay at their full potential. After that, you need to call. And I did not feel like chasing chickens around the chicken yard because my chickens roamed over close to an acre of ground. And that was seemed like work that didn't need to be done. Pick one up, look at the band. No, this one's not 2 years old. Put it down, catch another one. So I got 4 different breeds that all laid like I wanted them to, the right color egg. That everything was what I wanted. That looked distinctively different. And I kept pretty good records. And when it was time for the Rhode Island Reds, when they were sitting there about, pushing 2 years old, I'd just go out and gather up the Rhode Island Reds. You don't have to look at the bands. All you got to do is wander around the chicken yard and grab the Rhode Island Reds. You don't even have to do that before you open the door to your coop in the morning to let them out. You just get the Rhode Island Reds, put them in a transport carrier, and let the rest of them out. So that's why I had 4 different breeds. They're all attractive breeds. They're all docile breeds. I don't worry about how docile they are anyway because I don't have roosters around here. Now, I start raising meat birds, which I will eventually. Then I'll be buying straight runs to save money. Straight runs is when you're not asking for pullets or roosters, you're just asking for chicks. And I'll be buying those uh, in straight runs because it's about $1 a chick cheaper. But they'll all be in a growing pen. They won't be free ranging. So I'm not really worried about whether those roosters are friendly or not. They're going to hang around for about 6 weeks and then they're getting processed. But anyway, 4 breeds that look distinctly different makes it much easier to cull your chickens that are approaching 2 years old, where their productivity is going to drop off. Now that doesn't matter with the yard flock. That only matters if you're out here trying to make money off of your chickens. And like I said earlier, everything I do on this homestead, it doesn't all make money, but my intentions are for it to make money when I started. Remember that self-sufficiency thing in the last video? Well, you can't be self-sufficient if you're spending money and time to do something that is not putting money back in your pocket. So 4 breeds makes it much, much easier to keep your flock culled, to keep your heavy producers at the right age. Something else that'll keep your chickens producing well year round. This doesn't have anything to do with breeds. It's true of all breeds. But this is such a little short piece of information, I'm not going to do a separate video just on this. A lot of people, if you're on Facebook and if you go to a lot of the small farm pages or groups, you'll see people that are asking questions about, all of a sudden my chickens aren't laying like they were. They just started shutting down. They still give me some eggs, but not nearly what I want, or what I need, or what I expect. Well, during the summer, there's a variety of reasons that can be happening. But during the winter, or when it's approaching winter, when it's fall and starting to cool off, a lot of people will tell them that the chickens aren't laying because of the weather. It's getting colder. And that's not true. Cold does not affect your chicken's laying rate. Not a bit. What does affect your chicken's laying rate is light. As the days get shorter in the fall and there is less and less and less light out, and daylight hours get shorter, your chickens are going to lay fewer eggs. There is a way around that. Light is light is light. They're not looking for UV rays off the sun. They're looking for a certain amount of light. So, that's easy. When your chickens go home at night, go into the coop, you have a light in the coop on a timer. Have that light come on at a certain time, go off at a certain time. Provide light during the night, all night. It won't hurt them. It won't bother them a bit. Have light in that coop all night long. Now, a lot of people A lot of people will tell you that's being mean to the chickens. You need to give them time to rest. I'm not going to say they're wrong. I am going to say that in my opinion, they're wrong. If a chicken needs to take a break from laying, if it's been laying too heavy, it'll take its own break, regardless of light. You can have something as bright as the sun in that coop 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or you can have just enough light to keep them laying. They'll lay the same amount of eggs. When they need a break, they'll take a break. So it is not cruel to chickens to push them to maximize their laying rate. In the fall, put a light in the coop. I leave mine on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't use a timer. Timers run on batteries. Batteries wear out. I don't notice it. And all of a sudden, there's not light at night and my laying rate drops off. So I use a 110 volt light. Don't have to worry about batteries wearing out. And in the fall, when the days start getting shorter and it's about time for the laying rate to drop off, I turn that light on and it stays on. Excuse me. Coffee is causing me all kind of problems between burping and going down the wrong pipe. That's okay. Gotta have my coffee anyway. And I leave that light on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until spring when the days start getting longer again. Yeah, there's a cost, electricity. One light bulb in a chicken coop, which is plenty of light, 100 volt light bulb, which was the last time I was raising chickens. That's what I had, and now with LEDs it'll be a tenth of that. But 110 volt light bulb isn't going to burn $5 worth of electricity all winter long. And if you're operating on such a thin margin that $5 is causing you financial problems, you've got a problem somewhere else and you need to be fixing it. But anyway, there's my thoughts on breed selection. Breed selection for raising egg layers. Breed selection for raising egg layers as a yard flock. Pick the pretty chickens. Pick the chickens that lay multicolored eggs. Pick the chickens that please you and your family. If you're like me, and you're trying to make sure you profit off of everything you do, that's how I do it. Is my way perfect? It's perfect for me, and it works. And I produced a lot of eggs. My eggs were very profitable. One thing, speaking of producing a lot of eggs, over the time I was raising chickens for eggs, I told you that Ideal Poultry in their online catalog said that they laid, those 4 breeds, pumped out 300 eggs a year. And they have since reduced that to 260 eggs a year, which is still a lot of eggs. I can tell you from experience that the 300 eggs a year is closer to right. I guess maybe they changed it to 360 because they got some complaints from customers who said, you told me 300 eggs a year and I'm only getting 270 average. And their lawyers probably told them, well, cut it back to a number that they're going to get. For sure, even if they feed them wrong, even if they house them wrong, and that'll keep us from getting sued. That's probably about what happened. But I found that I was averaging about 295 to 305 eggs a year per hen. And yes, I did keep records that close. And you need to as well. You don't know if you're turning a profit if you don't know what you're producing. It ain't like you can go down to the farmer's market, put the money in your pocket when you sell the eggs, and then count it when you get home, and at the end of the month see how much did you spend. And no, you keep up with what your chickens are doing. If you're trying to turn a profit, you keep up with what everything on your farm is doing, including chickens, including how many eggs they're laying. So, I'm going to cut it off right here, and right here I'm going to explain why I'm breaking these chicken videos into several videos. And there'll probably be some other topics as well, like pigs, that I won't do one video about. The last video I did was 35 minutes long. I didn't realize it was going to be that long until it was done, and I wasn't going to record it again. But 35 minutes is too long for me to expect y'all to sit there and watch me run off at the mouth. So some of these homesteading topics I'm going to cover, some of them are going to fit in one video. Some of them might be 8-9 minutes long. But some of them are going to be longer. Chickens would be longer. Chickens would be longer than that 35 minutes. And I'm not going to ask anybody to sit and watch my videos for over 35 minutes. So I'll be breaking some of this stuff up into multiple videos on one topic. So this video was breed selection on your chickens. I did it for long enough. I think I know a little bit about how to select the right breeds, and why to select the certain breeds. And maybe I should have covered something that I didn't. That's what those comments down there are for. Go down there and say, hey Bob, what about so-and-so? Or what about this breed? Or whatever. Hit those comments down there today. That's what they're there for, is to ask me questions. If I know the answer, I'll give you the answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll be honest and say, I don't know, but I'll find out and answer it. So use the comments. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give me a thumbs down. If you're a subscriber, thank you. I love my viewers. I love my current subscribers, and I love my future subscribers. So if you're subscribed, thanks for watching. Keep coming back. If you're not subscribed, but you found the information here useful, then consider subscribing. And when you subscribe, there's a little bell right beside the subscribe button. If you click that bell, you'll get notified when I do another video. So for now, that's about what I've got. And the next video will be on chickens, and it'll be on housing. There's no need to spend the kind of money I see some people spending on chicken coops. Again, that goes back to the yard flock versus turning a profit. Some people that just have a yard flock and have nice, neat, pretty little farms, and they want to keep them looking just like something out of the farm version of Better Homes and Gardens. Okay, spend some money on your coop. Make it look pretty, paint it the right colors. But if you're looking to have a farm, a working farm that turns a profit and allows you to be self-sufficient, you don't have to spend that much money on housing for chickens. So the next video I do will be on housing for chickens. And until then, I want y'all to have an absolutely awesome day. I'm going to. I always have awesome days. There's no day around here that's not awesome. And the way I have an awesome day And the way y'all can have awesome days always is to remember two simple things. Just remember that the tomb was empty. And remember that he is alive. Now, I will see y'all in the next video. Okay?